Hey everyone. Good morning. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good day. So just give it a second for people to start coming in. Let's see. Hello, Daniel. All right, so today I was trying to think about what I wanted to work on. Someone mentioned wanting to have an example of how to use the asset subsystem. So I think what I'll do is kind of show how to use that. Oh yeah, let me get my text bigger. I always forget to do that, but I can see it on the stream. It looks pretty tiny, so let me increase that. Yeah, it looks better. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so for assets, let me go ahead and delete everything I don't need. In fact, let's just do this. And okay. We'll fill out these functions. All right. Oh yeah. Where? I think I'll just name these all app. I'm kind of tired of. Let me get rid of these. Just call these all app. It's just easier. Get rid of this. All right. So for the asset subsystem, or the asset util, define this. And then you can create custom importers. So that's what we're going to do now. I think what we'll do is I'll show how to load textures. So how to create an instance of an asset manager, how to load textures from file, how to load audio from file, how to load font from file, how to register custom importer for custom asset. So I think that'll be it. So we also want to do let's create all this stuff. Actually, I didn't call it that. Okay, so initialize all of our utilities here. I really don't need to do anything. By default, if you call the asset manager constructing it this way, it registers some default importers for you, so you don't have to do that. So if we go to asset, hey Dindy, asset manager new down here, so it registers the text importer for you. So for textures, it registers for fonts, and it registers for audio. So you don't necessarily have to do those yourself. You don't have to do this, of course. You could do all that yourself if you wanted to. If you had a custom importer that you wanted to do for textures, for instance, if you didn't want to use what was provided, you could do that. If you wanted to do something for fonts as well, you could do that. Same thing for audio. I just do this to make it easy. And then whenever we decide we want to go ahead and make a game engine on top of this, it'll make it easier to do all that because all that stuff's provided. So we've created these. During our update, let's go ahead and check GS platform key pressed. So if we press this, we're going to just quit the engine. Okay. Let's see. What are you complaining about? Oh, I draw 207. So I did some updates yesterday. GS Pi. $796. To S32. Okay. now I can close that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's just make sure we can draw to the screen. So the way you could do that is with the GSI commands. So it's in immediate mode. So we'll set a 2D camera, and then we'll just do, let's just do a rect. So we're gonna do a texture here. So the bottom left, which we'll do 100, top right, we'll do at actually this is the other way around, so we need to do actually I think that's right. I think I'd go bottom left to top, don't I? 0, 0 is the bottom left corner, so okay, so do that. Submit. Oh, that's right. Okay. So, all right. So I'm verifying that rendering's working. So now, really this is all just to, what I'm gonna do is do like binding a texture here, and then this texture is gonna be placed onto there. We'll also do some audio, and then I'll do some font rendering with a custom font. And then what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is, or what I know I'm gonna do is define a custom asset, show how to do that, and then register an asset importer, all that kind of stuff. So probably define like a custom file format or something, and then just read it. I don't know. But what we're gonna need to do is have an assets folder. And we'll start dumping some assets into that. I do not have anything, so let me find some. Thank you. There's a good one. Look at that. Let me find, found a texture. Let me find an audio sample. And then I'll find a font, dump those in there, and then we'll move ahead. Do I have any audio? There we go. We'll use that. What else? Oh yeah, I need a font. I'm pretty sure previous stuff I have some, yeah, I just have random fonts lying around, so let me grab one of these. That looks like garbage. Yeah, that's fine. Well, I don't want to move that. Okay, so let's load some stuff. There's a couple ways we could do this. We could make a custom, because what I do in the back end is it's just a slot array for assets, and I don't hold any hash table to reference any of this kind of stuff. So you have to hold on to the handles yourself. So the handles are defined as an asset. So it's GS asset T is a handle, and that'll be our texture handle. Same thing for our font, and then our audio as well. Okay. So now that we have these, let's go ahead and load some stuff up. Okay. So what you call, and this is a macro, and it calls into either a default loader for an asset, or it calls into a given function pointer for an asset, but you call GS assets load from file, and then the asset handle that you want, you give it a file path, the type, I believe, and then any other arguments you want after the fact. Alright, so if you look at load from file, we have to give the asset manager as well. So the reference to the asset manager. And then there's our file. And there you go. So now that loads our texture handle from file. We can do the same thing with the audio handle. And that's jump.wave. And our font file. I really just want to name this font. So T. Do I have it backwards? Yeah, it's T then path. Okay. Hey Rudy. So a couple things. We've successfully loaded the font, but we didn't provide a point size, so I'll look at that. We successfully loaded the audio, and then the texture was loaded as well. I don't have anything telling you that that was loaded, but I should do that. So there's a couple things. So if we look at the asset definition, there's this ellipsis here, which means that you can accept variadic arguments for your function that you want to call into in order to load something from file. Okay, so the load from file declaration is actually this, which means that you can pass in any number of variadic arguments. So if we go into asset texture load from file and look at the declaration for that, there's actually quite a bit here that you could pass in, and this is how you do default parameters, by the way, in C. So there's quite a bit that you could actually pass in into this function, such as the descriptor that you want to use. So you can fill out all of the texture descriptor information, such as the min filter, the magnification filter, file format, stuff like that. Whether or not you want to flip the texture on load, so you actually flip the pixels, which STB allows you to do, and then whether or not you want to actually keep the data. So if you want to serialize the texture data out, so if you want to, again, write your own serializer or something like that, then you can actually serialize all the texture data after you load it. You can do that. So for the font, there's actually something that's required here, is passing in the point size. But what I think I'll do right now is do something like this. So warning, font point size not declared. And then we'll do like a default of 16. I think that's what I'll do. That way you don't necessarily have to set a point size. It's just going to be defaulted to a 16 point size. So now when we do this, so now we've actually loaded in, set it to a default. Okay. And just to verify a couple of these things, let's go ahead and set the texture. Yeah, Sean, I remember you. And in order to do that, we actually need to get our raw texture. So let's do that. So this is the declaration you can do for that. Again, this is another macro so that you can do generics, because I need to know the type. And then you pass in reference to the asset manager, you pass in the type you want, and then you pass in the handle. So I want that, and then we want our text handle. Okay, so now we have our TP, and then we pass in the actual resource handle for the graphics texture into this declaration, and then it's going to bind our texture for us. And it should, assuming this all works out well, there we go. Should have our PogChamp. And he's beautiful, beautiful PogChamp. Okay. Alrighty, so now we can do that. We also have our font, so let's do this. Keyboard's acting up. Dude, this keyboard has been giving me all kinds of trouble. So we're gonna play sound effect. And it'll be a transient sound effect, meaning that it'll disappear. OpenGL. Yeah, Chandra, the backend's OpenGL for this. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it, man. Thanks to everyone that's subbed and then continues to come back and watch. I appreciate it. Whenever we press key, play transient sound effect. So let's say we grab Alright, so we grab that. If we actually look at the asset, because I can't remember what I declared this as. It just has a handle to an audio source. Sweet. So if we look at play audio, play source, you can play a transient audio source and it'll play it one time, creates an instance in the back end, and then it'll delete it, which is what we want for, like, if you have transient sound effects, right? So if you like shoot a gun, jump, sound, you know, stuff like that, like sound effect stuff, instead of music, which you want to be persistent and then play through, then you'll do something like this. So play source, it needs the source handle, which is just this, and then it needs the volume that you want to play that. So we'll just do 0.5. What's up, range? So now okay, so I'm running into an issue. So the third one, it's failing. So I think there's something wrong with the slot array. Either that, or there's something wrong with the thread, which is worse. Yeah, I think that's the case. Let me go to there's an erase. So I think it's this. So I think what I need to do is be able to do this, but I need to, whenever you play the audio source, I'm going to need to lock the mutex, unfortunately. So play source, audio play, slot array get p, audio instance, create, shit. So where do I want to do this? I need a, it's probably just this. Grab the subsystem, I'm going to need to lock it, create an instance. So this is a so create the instance, and then I'm gonna have to unlock the mutex, and then return the instance. I wonder if that does it, because my fear is that there's a problem with the thread. So what's MA? Yeah, so I'm gonna need this audio user data. Okay. Let's see if that fixes it. Mini audio data T undeclared. Okay. Okay. Why is it undeclared? Well, it might be undeclared because this is in the default. Yeah. Okay, so that's not. Okay, let me look for a different way. Maybe it's not in the thread, it's just still. All right, let me all right, debug. It's going to kick off in the thread somewhere, I'm pretty sure. Ideally, it's something wrong with the slot array data itself. Like there's just something with the slot array that's fucking up, but most likely it's not the case. Oh, also my asset directory is incorrect. Let me. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we've deleted. Okay. What's the exception here? The instance? Yeah, so the instance is incorrect. So iterator 0. Yeah. Zoom this in. Actually, it might just be an issue with the slot array arrays. No, it's fine. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah, so it's just a thread issue. So I'm going to need to man, sucks. I'm gonna have to do some changing of resource creation. This is what I was worried about. Damn. Hey, Nikhil. Because this instance for the iterator is incorrect. So what I should do although that does check to see if it's valid. Man. Yeah, Aaron, this is a it's a game framework, header only. I'm working on an example for the asset manager utility. Someone asked for that in the Discord, so I'm kind of going through that. And I'm running into an issue with the audio thread with creating and deleting resources, which kind of knew that was going to be an issue eventually, and I put it off until the last minute, and now it's biting me in the ass. So I'm going to try and figure out a way around it without having to fundamentally rewrite a lot of stuff, but good chance that's not going to be the case. So it's in getting this instance that it's having an issue. Slot array iter valid. Let me look at that real quick. What's this? Oh, okay. So if the iterator is less than the slot array size, that's the only thing I'm doing. Slot array size. So what do I do for slot array size? What do I actually look at? So this is the data. It's not even necessarily true. I don't want that. I want the handle. So the iterator gives me a handle. Indices at I. So if the iterator is less than the GS dyne array size of the slot array indices, I think that's what I want. Well, maybe not. Oh, now what are we crashing on now? Oh, okay. So I was looking at the dynamic. Oh, okay. Alrighty. The hell? Oh, that's right. Because the so this isn't even. It's this. Still. Okay, apparently that's not right. So if the iterator, let's say if I'm gonna cut out of this if that's the case. Or continue. Yeah, it's just this instance. So I'm invalidating this data as I'm deleting these instances. I'm invalidating the data, and yeah. So I collect handles to destroy here. And then I erase here. I'm really gonna have to do This is the actual implementation for mini audio, and I don't want to cross the data across these two. I can't do that, so I can't grab the mutex. But deleting the assets or deleting the instances is I can't do this for some reason. This is done out of that loop, I believe. I think this is all just within the mutex. Yeah, that's just in the mutex, so. Shit. Well. Let me look at what slot array erase actually does. This shouldn't. Boy, let's see. Slot array erase. All right, so you pass in an ID. This is kind of strange. So here we're swapping data around, which might be causing the issue. So maybe what I should do is keep audio sources on the thread. And then see, what's a good way to do this? Not the sources. The source data is fine, but keep the instances on the thread. And then do like a copy merge. I mean, that's still gonna have an issue though. Because if I'm trying to read from audio data as it's being destroyed, that's an issue. I hate threading. It's such a pain in the ass. Okay, well, I'll think about this later. For now, we're not deleting. But that means that if I actually print out so we're just building up. Just building up instances. I mean, I wonder if I could. I wonder if a way to mitigate this slightly is to, whenever I create a new instance, so there's a couple ways around this, right? So I could look for an unused instance and then swap or set data. I could make static instance, like a static instance array. So you have like a set number of instances. I like that the least, but it could be possible. And then you just, in a config or something, declare how many instances you want. I don't know. Problem is this though. Problem is this. Let me just try this. Just see if it dies here. So there's like a handle valid. Say the 0th ID. And we'll just delete that handle. Because I know that's that just crashed immediately. Immediately crashed. All right. It has to be done in here. It's interesting, so I figured this mutex would protect that data. I guess not. I'm gonna have to make another mutex. It's gonna be an audio mutex. Really just to test this. I just want to see if I do. If I do this. And then I just, so this user data is null. But whenever I go to create an instance, if I'm, lock the mutex, and then we'll unlock it. Yeah. Whenever we actually create the handle, and then we'll return the handle. Maybe. If this works, then I will make a mutex just for the audio creation. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, so there's something else going on. It's not even necessarily with the threads, and this wasn't even deleting it to begin with. Yeah. Yeah, so it's whenever it gets around to it, it finally deletes it. 5. Yeah, so it's whenever it actually goes around to delete. So there's something else going on. It's not even necessarily, it's not even the mutex. It's not, I don't think it's a thread thing. I think it's just with deleting it's just deleting the where was this? The slot array ID. I think that's all it is. Yeah, so it can't even delete that one. So it deletes that, and then it tries to access deletes the 0th one, tries to access the 0th one, just consistently. Yeah, there's an audio thread, Chandra, that runs just so the audio data can play consistently. But it's grabbing instance data from the main thread, but I have a mutex to go between the two for deleting and creating resources. But I think there's something wrong with my deletion. I think the iterator is incorrect. So the iterator valid it just checks to see if the iterator is less than the slot array size, and the slot array size just looks for the data, but that data isn't looking at this. I don't understand why it's doing that. Because then it's trying to grab Grab the. Okay. Oh, buddy. Yeah, this iterator's just, it's not working right. I had some previous example of how I was doing this. Let me pop that up because it might be. It's mini audio implementation. So let me look at what I was doing. No, iterating through. It's a resource cache iterator though. Let me try a different iterator. I think there might be something wrong with this iterator. Do this. We'll do that. Now to get the instance, we won't do this. Grab it from here. Let's do dyno-array size. Just iterate through the indices, and then we'll grab. Although I don't necessarily think that's good. Yeah, that should be fun. Nope. Cocksucker. Yeah, it's not gonna work. What is wrong with that? Probably because it's not. I need to unlock that mutex, of course. So if I think that's probably an issue. If I don't have instance data, then that slot array is going to be null. So it should at least load. Okay, still crashing because of course it is. Hate it. If I have 2, it should crash. Yeah, so it's at least consistent. So there's just something up with deleting. There's something up with deleting assets, or not assets, instances from the slot array. It's just what it is. So Slot array arrays. There's something going on here. It's just wrong. Ugh. Shouldn't hit that. It hits this. So let's see. Just deleting 0, it's the 0th index. Start at the beginning of the handles to the last index of data is found. Okay. 0, go through all those. If I see. So if the indices at I equals, this is probably incorrect here, because it's not meant to. It's not unique. Oh no. Okay. So if the indices at I equals the dyno array size minus 1, h equals I. So what is our h here? So we're looking for the last index. The erase function is pretty confusing. So h is 1. Right, because that's the last. Wait, does that make any sense? That doesn't make sense. That don't really make sense. On advanced C99 concepts. Yeah? Like what? What do you want me to cover exactly? Them hotkeys pumping. Yeah, girl. They pumping. Man, let's see. Let me go into Paint. So if I have an array, there we go. I have 2 arrays. So this is indices. Oh yeah. And this is data. So whenever we put in a slot, something into our slot array, for the very first element, it's going to be 0, and then the data is going to be 0. And then the next one, I mean, I'm putting one after another. It's going to be 1. It's going to point to 1. And so if I look at, and then it's going to line up like this, right? So the 0th element's going to go to this. First element's going to go to this. They're going to match up pretty directly. Whenever I come over here and I'm trying to erase 0, what I'm doing is, so our ID is going to be 0. That's the slot array handle ID. Okay, should be 0, and it is. So grab 0. And then the data index is indices at 0. This should be 0. So if I print this out, we've got 2. It's trying to delete 1. OG data index is 0. Okay. So that's good. And then we're trying to delete this one. So what it has to do is it has to grab the data index that it's interested in for deleting from the data. And then it needs to look at what is the back of the data array in order to match, basically in order to like swap and pop. That's what I'm trying to do here. So I need to know this. I need to be able to look at what the back index is. And then I need to swap these two. And then this guy is going to point to here. And this guy is going to be invalid. It's going to point to nowhere. Does that make sense? Probably not. So I find that I'm interested in just looking at what's printing out here. H is 1, which means the data index. So this. So the data at the OG data index is this guy. So here's the swap. So now the new should be 1, 1, and then I pop the data, so now it should be that. So now our data array should look like this, and our index array should be 0, 1. And then I point to new handles. So indices at 1, so this guy, should point to the original data index, which is this now. So that's 0. And then the indices at 0 should point to invalid. And it does. So then our new setup after everything's done should look like this. Where for our indices array, we do have multiple indices. And then for our data array, we just have this. Where this guy is pointing off to nothing, so we'll just say X. And then this one is pointing to the first element of the data array. And that's how you maintain references for a slot array. But for some reason, this is not working correctly. So if we have multiple things, God, oh geez. Okay. If we have multiple items in the array, Man, writing with this mouse is painful. All right, I don't want to hook up my drawing pad though. We have multiple items in the array and they're all pointing like this, right? So this is a situation where you've just inserted stuff and you haven't deleted a thing. And then we come through and we say that we want to delete this element, okay? So what'll happen is we delete this guy, we'll look at the data index to say what's gonna be deleted. It's gonna be this index. And then we look to find, so we iterate through here to see what's pointing to the last of the data array. So we come through here and we find that this guy's pointing to there. So we cache that, and then we're gonna swap these two like this. And then we're gonna redo our pointers. So then we end up with a handle array that looks like this. And a data array that looks like this. Right? So where this guy is pointing to here, this guy's not pointing to anything, this guy's pointing to here, and then this guy's pointing to here. So a double indirection. Should be working like that. For some reason, this is not. For some reason, it's not. So I'll tell you what, let's create a non-threaded example. Shit. Let's just do E32s. Okay, and then we'll just add a bunch of items into it. Okay. All right. So I've added 100 elements into the slot array, and now what we're going to do is because this is what's dying, right? So we'll just delete index 0. And if this dies, then I know that it's actually an issue with deleting from the slot array as opposed to a threaded issue. If it doesn't die, then there's something else going on. My hope is that it dies. Okay, we're going to delete the first element. Yeah, so that worked perfectly fine. Shit. So that deletes it fine, but I wonder if I can iterate through. So let's try to iterate through the data. Hakeem asks, can anyone explain briefly what's going on? Yeah, I'm creating an example for the asset manager utility that I have for this framework. Someone asked for it in the Discord, so I'm doing that and just streaming it. But currently I'm having an issue with some of the memory in the slot array. I'm trying to hunt down what's actually going on. So one of my containers that I use for this framework, which is it's called a slot array. It's just a double indirection array. It's having some issues with deleting some memory. So I don't know what's going on. U32. I should be able to get it, and that should be that. So yeah, so there's an issue with the thread. That's what it is. Because I'm able to sit there and delete that all day long, and it's fine. Okay, so my logic is fine. It's the thread. I'm gonna have to devise some way to be able to delete, like tell the Okay. Well, for now, we're not deleting audio instances. Yeah, so all this is fine. Iterating through all this is good. Legal for struct. Audio instances at IT. Oh, it's not. Indices. So yeah, so I'm catching that, but then I'm not deleting data correctly. And because it's just a threaded issue, so you're gonna get a lot of chopping because the instance data is incorrect. So what I might do instead just clean it up on the main thread. I don't know. Interesting. Interesting. I might have to make a ring buffer of audio data that actually sits on the audio thread. And I feed instance data into that, and then, yeah. Which I think Mini Audio has a ring buffer example. I'm gonna have to look at that and probably just feed in instance data into it. Mini Audio will probably hold on to it, and then that'll be it. I mean, there's really nothing else I can do. So request for an instance to be created, the audio thread creates it, gives back a handle, and then it's responsible for, I guess, updating. Anyway, all right, that's really annoying. Okay, but continuing. I kind of want to make PogChamp dance or jump. All right. It's obnoxious. We do GSI text. So let's look at rendering font. Flip vertical, false. Man, I really want to fix this. Let me do it off the thread. I just want to see what this does. I have a feeling it's not going to matter. Oh, here I'm not even erasing the instances. Huh. So this entire time it's Oh, I think never mind. I think I was doing this. I just didn't. This might be another thing that's. Alright, I'm gonna have to deal with this off stream. Part of me wonders if I could just iterate through the data. No, but then I can't keep up with the iterator. Alright, whatever. Whatever. Okay. So for the font, let's give it a higher point value. Let's say 32. Let's move PogChamp down a bit, so 300. Oh. Yeah, that would be nice for that to do that. Kind of want to make a new function here. Okay. So loaded this stuff. Let's do a custom asset. What should it have? I don't know. Sure. So I would like to have some way to be able to just create an asset and then just pass back asset data. That would be nice. So like a GS assets place data or insert asset, something like that. And then this gives you back a handle. Create asset, GS, custom asset, and then just that. I think I'd like to be able to do something like that. So all right, so what should this do? this. So grab the importer for this particular asset. Set the importer to the temporary importer. I'm not going to load from path. I'm going to set the temp pointer here instead. And then I'll pass it in. And then I'll create the handle. So I think that's all I need to do. So you have to so we have our custom asset data, and we're going to create a way to do registering custom importer. So you register an importer this way. Pass in a reference to the asset manager, the type that this thing will be importing. So for us, it's our custom asset data. And then you need to pass it in a descriptor object. To describe certain things about it. For us, and this is like function pointer stuff. So if you have a load from file function, you can pass that in. If you have a default asset function, you can pass that in. So we could do that. So you could create a default asset. For us, we're just going to pass in an empty descriptor. We don't really care. Although I'll probably create, just to show it off, I'll probably create like a load from file thing. Okay, and then that should be fine. That creates that. All right. So now we need to actually create our custom data. Do that. So the custom handle is gs assets create asset. And then we'll pass in the address of some, custom asset. What are we going to call it? So let's create an instance of this. So we'll say our name, so whatever. Data is 10, And our F data is 3.145F. Okay. All right, and so now we should be able to, inside of here, right? So custom asset pointer. So we'll do the name, we'll do the different data types. And that should work. So yeah, there's all of our asset data that we have. We could even do like text instead. Let's do that. So to do something like this, we need to printf. Actually, I don't even know if I can do that. GSSN printfc. So what does this do? It takes the name that you want to give the buffer. So we'll just call it C buffer. Size, we'll say 256 characters. A format, and then any printf variadics that we have. So for this, we'll do CP, we'll do the name, and then the data. So the name is CP name, data is UData, and F data. And then we'll do our text. Where should we put this? Let's do 120, 400. Pass in C buffer for the text, and then all the other. There we go. Sounds like these that make me miss hot reloading. All right, champ, you're a little high, or a little. So I guess I don't have, there's no colon with this font, but it's okay. I don't need this, so we'll just put them down there. it. Oh man, that is stretched. I think it's because I don't have so GSI face call enabled. So I'm seeing back faces. Yeah. And then let's rotate them over time. Rotate V. On the the Z-axis, no Y-axis. All right, dude. GSI rotate V. That's not it. Rotate FV. Yeah. Oh, because I'm not. Okay. That, and then we'll translate them back. It's beautiful. I actually want a negative rotation. So the texture's flipped, which is interesting. It's a good recommendation, Adam. Appreciate it. Actually, I don't need that if I do that. Okay. So defaults. Actually, return the default asset. Why would that do that? What's the path? Path. Interesting. So maybe. See, Daniel asks, what are the methods that I've used for learning? Did I learn game engine development from doing research on other open source engines, about reading their implementations? Any good source material recommendations? A lot of it was from YouTube when I was starting out. LearnOpenGL.com is a good resource if you're getting into OpenGL or graphics development. And then just kept making stuff. I've always just been a big DIYer, so I don't particularly like using other people's code or other people's engines. I like reading it and getting an idea of how to do it, but I want to know how to make it myself. So a lot of it was trial and error. I mean, several years of trial and error. And then I learned a lot on the job when I was an engine dev, working with some other guys who had been doing it for a lot longer. So that definitely helped. But yeah, just you have to figure out the best way for you to learn, and then you have to, do it that way. I like reading books, but it wasn't the best way for me to learn. So for me, I enjoy videos a lot more. For some reason, this is not working, which it should. There's always something, always something. Should be passing in the variadic arguments right there. It's not. It's obnoxious. It's a zero. It's a big fat zero. Why? Why? Interesting. So it doesn't like passing in the float parameter to begin with, like at all, which is fascinating. Why? Why would that be the case? It doesn't make sense. Interesting. So they're promoted to a double. Is that true? If I do this as a double instead? interesting. So if you do it as a float, it will not work. If you do it as a double, it does work. That is terrible. That is terrible, actually. Shit. Well, that's one area where C's kind of stupid. I will admit it. That is stupid. Okay. Yeah, that sucks. That's fucking wrong anyway. Huh. Oh, I swapped these around. That's right. Welp. All right. Not any longer. Not in this stream, he's not. Let's see. Loading assets. Registering custom asset importer. That's probably good enough. So if Nikhil's still in here, I'll probably just add this up and then you can look over this if you want. And verify this works with MNGW as well. Probably not. Let's see, asset. Okay, let me push that up. Push a couple things up actually, because I think I changed enough of the Do you use CMake? No, not for personal stuff. Let's see, ignore these. Good, good. Ignore this. Ignore all .exes actually. These are fine, these are fine. Let's see, include asset manager example. It might not let me include those, it does, okay. Add that. The best C++ tool chain. Whatever's easiest for you. I use bat files. How can you program in C when you use C++ before that? Don't you miss functions and classes or the standard template library? I do not miss the standard template library in the slightest. Don't you miss functions and classes? No, not really. That's all syntax sugar anyway. It's not that big a deal. I've gone over this before, I'll do it again. The standard template library I don't miss because I have my own containers that I've written that emulate all of that. So a dynamic array implementation, which you can use just like you would a vector, hash table implementation, which can take any random type, just hashes the bytes and use that. Slot array. So slot array is double indirection array that you use handles. That way you can maintain constant references. And then a slot map, which is a triple indirection. So it's a slot array that has a hash table on top of that so that you can use any custom key data should you want to. And then using these, I mean, As long as you have a dynamic array and a hash table, you can do whatever. That's really all you need. You need some associative container, so that's your hash table, and you need some way to be able to have a way to have dynamic growth for a container, right? And that's your dynamic array. You have those, you can do whatever. Everything else is just sugar on top. So, and I can do those in C. So I don't miss any of the other stuff. Do you think C++ is bad? I think C++ is bloated. And I think it has a lot of unnecessary stuff that shouldn't be there, and they continue to add stuff on top of it that you don't need, that I don't need. Maybe you need it. I don't need it. I've looked at some of the modern C++ standard for like 20 and whatever else, and it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. That's all I think of it. I don't think it's bad. You can do what you need to do in it, then it's good, you know. It's just not for me. What do you think of Rust? I've never used it. I've seen some examples, some code examples. I think some of the philosophy behind it's a little misguided. I don't really care about people worrying about safety for my benefit. I'll worry about that. So a language that kind of goes out of its way to worry about that for me, I don't really like. Try to use C instead of C++, but without function or operator overloading, it's just a pain. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, there's certain things that people would like to have that aren't existent. That being said, you can do operator overloading in C. You just have to be clever about it. So you can do it with variadics. There's also something to be said for metaprogramming. So a lot of the stuff that you can't do in C or C++, you get around by doing some kind of metaprogramming, where you generate code for yourself that you can then use. One of those examples being like a reflection system. So I think I'm going to call it for today, at least for this. I got done what I wanted to do for the asset manager example. Uploaded that to the GitHub, so anyone that's interested in checking it out, feel free to. There's other stuff that I need to go work on. I won't be able to look at it now. I got to do other stuff, but I need to look at the audio source stuff. So creating those on a separate thread is an issue, and deleting them on a separate thread is an issue. I need to mitigate that. So I'll figure that out. But for now, I think I'm going to head out. So thanks for stopping by. Link for the Discord's in the description. Feel free to join that. Subscribe, all that stuff. Appreciate it. But all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.